for the interest rates. And then what about BRICS? What is BRICS up to? There's so much going on. Jobs, people are being laid off. People are cutting jobs. Companies are downsizing. What is the debts? People are not doing well when it comes to their credit card defaults. What are we learning about where we're going economically? We'll talk about that tonight. Also, we're going to talk about gold. What's the latest projection for gold and silver as well? A lot of big banks are jumping on board that. Of course, central banks are gobbling it up. That should be a sign. So we'll get to that as well. So Annie Cyrus, she's going to talk with us about this one right here. From Hamas to Warlords. She's going to talk to us about that, as well as the fact that we have a video. We have a video out where Hamas is now telling people how to carry out an October 7th style attack. We warned about this, sadly, back in October 7th, 2023. That day, we were on the air for 8 hours on that Saturday, that Sunday, with Sharam, with Annie, with Aaron Navarco out of Israel. And we said, look, folks, they want to do this in America. They said they want to do it in America. And now Hamas has just released the first of 3 videos training people on how to carry out an October 7th style attack. They're also talking about kidnapping people. Who would they want to kidnap? Who's at risk of being kidnapped? But they're openly talking about how to carry out kidnappings. Now, you got to see the videos, and then Annie is going to respond. We're also going to talk about this one. Oil, nukes, and Sharia, what could possibly go wrong? We funded bin Laden's harbor. Now we're building their energy empire as well. So much to get to with Annie, including what is happening in Lebanon. Not much being said tonight in a lot of the mainstream media about what's going on in Lebanon with Hezbollah, the Iranian force, Hezbollah. But you need to know about it. We're going to cover it tonight, all right? And why are you whining? You can come over here. No one's holding you up. Why are you standing off in the distance whining? Huh? Come on. Why are you whining? What's up? What's wrong? I don't know why you're whining. But, oh, look at this. We talked about this the other day with Colonel Manus, but I think we should talk about it again. The other night, this is actually a tweet coming right from the Twitter feed of our FBI director, Kash Patel, talking about how in Long Beach, the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force arrested a man who had this. Now we're gonna show you and talk about it. It's got ball bearings in there, so that could kill a lot of people, harm a lot of people, kill a lot of people. It's got a switch. Is that a switch for a timer? Or is that a switch for a suicide bomb? And is this again part of this threat that former CIA agent Sarah Adams has been warning about? He's been warning. He said something's happening in 2025. I don't know. I don't know any timeline. I don't know anything about these attacks. I'm just telling you what she's saying. She and others are saying there's an attack coming in 2025. She claims there'll be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-man teams, and many of them will fight to the death. But now we find this gets found and this is being put out by the FBI director. I want Annie Cyrus to comment on that as well. But I'm also very eager to show you the latest footage of our personal tour of Israel by our reporter and tour guide, Aaron Navarco, tonight from the Dead Sea. Okay, that should be great. Tweet, text, email, Facebook, Getter, True Social. Tell everybody to tune in, turn on, but don't drop out. Tune in, turn on, drop out. That was the saying of Timothy Leary. Yeah, we want you to tune in and turn on and tune in, but don't drop out, folks. Stay with us. Stay with us. Speaking of adding people, get your business cards. A pack of 20 of these, free at worldviewstore.com. Free at worldviewstore.com. Help us spread the word. They're free. How many of those have we sent out, Caleb? 20,000 of these have been sent out now. And you can get them, did I say free? Yeah, they're free. So go there and get those, would you? Go over to worldviewtube.com before you get started. worldviewtube.com/sponsors. worldviewtube.com/sponsors. Get your free satellite phone. Get your free satellite phone. All you got to do is go to Worldview Talk to get your free satellite phone. Oh, do you like the satellite phone? You're going to make a call? No, you're not going to chew up the satellite phone. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. You're a nut. Get your free satellite phone when you go to worldviewtalk.com. You want to take a call? Is anyone calling? Who's calling? Is it the veterinarian? You don't want to hear from the vet, do you? We don't ever take you there. Keep your dogs away from the vet. That's what I say. I stay away from the doctors and you stay away from the vet. We'll all live longer, right? Get your free satellite phone. Dolly approved. Worldview, no, don't chew it. Worldviewtalk.com. Tina will get mad at me if I let you chew on that satellite phone. Worldviewtalk.com. Worldviewtalk.com. All right? Get your free satellite phone, and you can also get solar generators there. I have their solar generator, their Delta Echo 400. You can get their bulletproof backpacks. You can get what else, Logan? The beanies to protect you from the EMF signals. All of that's there. Worldview Talk. Oh, Starlink. You can get a Starlink for free with one of their very reasonable monthly plans. And they have portable Starlink as well. Portable Starlink. For those of you that might have a RV, or you go camping, or you're in the duck blind, but you want to keep up with stuff, or you have a cabin, but you don't want to pay for full-time internet, just take your portable Starlink with you. 1-866-738-3224. 1-866-738-3224. Do business with this company. Remember, Tina, that's the sister of Dr. Bashima Williams. And Tina is so generous with us. So please do business with this company. To be honest with you, I think Tina might send us a little more money every month than we're actually deserving of, because I think she appreciates what we do. And so she really wants to keep our network going. So I'm just going to tell you, I've never known of a sponsor that says, yeah, this is what we're going to send you this month. I'm thinking, I don't think we sold that much, but that's how generous she is with us. So please support this network, because Tina personally is really helping us, folks, to keep this network going. And it's so expensive to keep free programming going. So please do business with this company. This is the real deal. Tina's the real deal. She's very interested in keeping our network on the air, and she has great products and takes good care of our people. So go ahead, do business with them. Worldviewtalk.com, worldviewtalk.com. Another great company we love is worldviewwater.net, worldviewwater.net. Drink good water, folks. Get out the chemicals that cause cancer. Don't drink that. Come on. Worldviewwater.net. It sounds like I was talking to Dolly. I say that to you, don't I, Dolly? Don't drink that. I think I finally broke you the habit of drinking out of the toilet, didn't I? You know what? Now that I mention it, she doesn't drink out of the toilet since I got her the new water. Huh. Once we got the water filter, started giving her the good water, she stopped drinking out of the toilet. Has anyone else noticed?
Maybe that was called Thomas.
Oh, wow. Ouch. One of the guys in control room said maybe that would stop one of the guys in control room from doing the same. Wow. Ouch. They really support each other in there, don't they? I never thought about that till right now. Logan, have you?
Oh.
She stopped drinking out of the toilet once we got the water filters. That tells me the water was so bad that she was willing to drink out of the toilet, I guess. I don't know. But she doesn't anymore. She does not do that. And she drinks, I put down a bowl of this water, and she drinks the whole bowl. She can tell the difference. She doesn't smell all those chemicals in there. Okay, and I shower too with this good clean water. They have the shower filter there. Okay, so get it, worldviewwater.net. Of course, she gets the Gatatana. Let's go back up here. Let's see, where is it? Where is it, Logan? Are we missing a few? I feel like I'm missing a few graphics tonight. You notice that? Well, there it is. A Worldview, Melissa House, I should say, GPA. To get the Gatatana. Remember, they have a pet product. Melissa started ordering the pet product for Dolly because she found out that it's $20 cheaper. I've been giving her a half a scoop of mine every morning. But now she says, look, Brandon, I ordered the pet product because it's $20 cheaper. So don't be giving her yours anymore. So she does get a half a scoop of the pet product every day. There's that cat that had a tumor, got it on Gatatana, tumor gone. How many dogs do you know that die of tumors and cancer? Oh, yeah, I've had so many in my labs. This is lab number 6. That's her nickname, 6. This is number 6. And I know that Autumn died of a tumor, cancer. Summer died of cancer. Delta died of cancer. That's 3. 3 out of 5. So she's still alive. 3 out of 5 died of cancer. Yeah. So again, keep your dogs healthy, keep your pets healthy, and your cats and yourself. We highly recommend this. 5 clinical trials. I take it every day. You see me take it often on the air. MelissaHouseGPA.com, MelissaHouseGPA.com. Of course, you know I take Bella Grace every day, each and every day. Powerful elixir. That one has 80 clinical trials behind it. Where is it, Logan? There it is. That one has 80 clinical trials behind it. And they have a new product I'm excited to tell you about coming out September 1st. But they have the elixir, plus they have the Bella Grace skincare Melissa loves, and they have the Bella Trim and the restorative sleep, all of it at MelissaHouseBG.com, MelissaHouseBG.com. These are just a few ways that you can support us and yourselves at the same time. So please do that. Let's go to a wide shot real quick before we go to Annie. Go to a wide shot. Can we put on the lower third? Look at her. She's already chilled out. She's chilled out and got to take a nap tonight, I guess. We'll see how long that lasts. All right. Thank you for supporting all of our sponsors, folks. We really appreciate it more than you know, because when you support them, you're supporting us and your health at the same time. So thank you for doing that. Joining me now is Annie Cyrus. Annie joins me because there is there's a couple disturbing videos out there, but there is one in particular I want to talk to her about. Look at this, folks. Here we go. You're like, what is he saying? I don't know. Well, I don't speak Arabic, but I asked her to tell me. This is supposedly a Hamas group is now telling people how to carry out an October 7th style attack. Whoa. They're even providing, hide in the bushes, come out. I guess they're trying to show you how to be involved in drawing people in and then attacking them. I don't know. I don't speak the language. I think that's Arabic. Let's ask Annie. Annie, welcome to the broadcast. You can keep showing that video, guys. What's he saying here?
Thank you for having me back. Word by word, exactly. Here's what he says. There is nothing more dangerous or more skilled than an ambush for turning the tables and inflicting losses on the enemy. That is why today, Allah willing, we will start a series. This is number 1 out of 3 episodes for the record. Sit tight, 2 more episodes are coming out. A series on ambushes, which will continue with us over the course of 3 episodes. And then he explains what is an ambush, which to his description, it's when a military group positions itself in a suitable and concealed location with the goal of surprising the enemy, destroying its units, seizing its weapon, documents, and all valuable assets, and possibly capturing its personnel. And then he goes through 3 steps of advantages of ambush, and then 1 disadvantage, which is basically you have to have the patience to wait for a long time.
What do you think that last one is? The patience to wait a long time? What do you mean?
That is what he concludes the video, saying there are 3 advantages to an ambush. Number 1 is the fact that you are pre-positioned and the location is suitable for you to surprise the enemy. The second advantage is you have control over the area in terms of assault and withdrawal. Number 3, you have the freedom to decide whether or not you even want to engage in the battle. And then he says, now there is 1 disadvantage, and that is that you have to be waiting for a long period of time for the enemy to be in proper position for you to attack.
Wow. Okay, so where do you think they're wanting these October 7th style attacks to take place, Annie?
If it was up to Hamas, everywhere. Europe, America, Canada, any Middle Eastern country. Well, that's only Israel. That's it. Israel, America, European countries.
How long before we start seeing kidnappings? Because wasn't kidnappings in that list?
Yes, capturing personnel is on that list. Yes, there.
How long before we start seeing kidnappings in America? And who are we going to see kidnappings of?
Well, here's the thing. We've already seen the pilots. Brandon, remember, we broke the news on your show in 2021 when an Iranian-American journalist, Masih Alinejad, was taken in by FBI and put in a safe house because there was a group of hired by IRGC men who were going to kidnap her and take her back. We have witnessed a completed kidnap of another Iranian-American journalist that I used to work with. He was captured, kidnapped, taken back to Iran, and he was hung about a year after that. So the reality is it has happened, or it has been plotted. Now, when will we see more average Muslims have the training to deliver and carry them out? With the speed of Hamas members putting out these public videos, probably, within next year, we might need to watch out more often for kidnapping. But the reality is they've been doing it already.
Who will be the kidnapping targets, Annie?
That is a tough one to answer. There's a very long list already existing of Trump himself, his family members, his previous administration. If you remember, those who were involved with the death of Qasem Soleimani, there's a long list of Iranian, European, Iranian, Canadian, Iranian opposition. There are some of the truth tellers that are becoming more and more target, like yourself, and Jamie Glazov, and Daniel Greenfield, and Robert Spencer, and Pamela Geller. These names are starting to pop up on some of, not necessarily the list, but you guys are getting on their lists. Sorry to say it this way, but soon your name will officially be on the list, probably after they finish and complete the existing list.
And it's because we're talking about Islam?
It's more than that, Brandon. One, you're talking about Islam. I'm going to narrow in on just Brandon House. You're talking about Islam, and then you're also giving microphone to Yosama Dakdok, Sharam Hadian, Aina Cyrus. Those of us who are also not just talking about it, but rather we have solutions, we have ways to expose them, we speak the language. So you yourself cover it, but then you give experts who are opposing them and exposing them constant platform. It's not like you have me on once and then 4 years later you might have me on. You had me as your main speaker at your annual event. This year you have Hadiya as your main speaker. So it's more of your consistency on giving us platforms, and of course also the fact that you are talking about it yourself.
And what do they think they could gain by kidnapping any of us that you mentioned?
Well, the kidnapping method, for example, if we go back to Ruhul Azam, the Iranian man who was, he was Iranian French, who was kidnapped and then taken back to Iran. Unfortunately, aside the fact we lost him because they hung him after almost 18 months after capture and kidnapping, what they won or what they achieved was we had to disassemble the group because we had no idea under torture how much information he gave away. So we broke the entire team. We all walked our own separate ways. Years of work in building this trusted group had to disassemble itself. They had him for 18 months, torture every day. Who knows what information he gave? So that's their main target. When they do the kidnapping, especially with those who have information, it's that fear factor of, for a while, the team members are gonna go quiet until they figure out what is happening, how much information is out there. Are they next? Did the person who was captured give them the address, the home address, the social security? What did they give? So with that, they create these gaps of silence. They silence us through this method. And of course, also making a sample of those who are, because everybody who's been kidnapped, at least with the Iran IRGC system, they have always been kept for a while and then killed. So it's kind of making a sample out of them for the rest of us to know that if we don't stop, well, they get us somehow, someday, and kill us.
And several years ago, I had some experts on. They were warning about them kidnapping certain people, high-profile people, and torturing them and filming it all and pushing it all over social media.
Yes.
Obviously, that's part of terrorism, to terrorize people, right?
Exactly. To show power through terrorizing people. That's been their method from their prophet to today. That's
Which is
what
why they
Muhammad did,
film
but
beheading people, right?
yes, I was about to say now, Muhammad didn't have technology back then, but he actually had witnesses who would send out. He would send out to go tell the story of what just happened right after he ordered the beheading of 800 Jews in one morning. They just copied it. Now they have the advantage. They have social media. They have, TV reporters. They have other ways to show millions of people what they just did and terrify them. And look, Brennan, in a way, they have achieved their goal. I personally know too many people who stay away from this topic because they are afraid they will be that person on that camera one day. So they have achieved their goal. They have created enough fear for us to become minority. There are a lot of people who know the truth, but there aren't enough of us talking about the truth. And that's the goal.
Let's talk about this video. Have you seen this video? It's on social media. Is it legit? Iran supposedly practicing kidnapping President Trump. Have you seen this video? Is it legit?
I actually have seen that video, and it is actually legit.
It is.
Yes. The car that just drove by actually does have the Farsi writing on it. However, this is, I'm not this, I was the first one to say, President Trump, watch your back because they're serious about their revenge. However, they did this specifically for the purpose of being released. So what you see isn't the real practice. This is not the real tactic or blueprint of what they're planning to do.
This is just basically mocking Trump.
Yes. Yes, and by the way, just if anybody's curious, on the side of that truck, it says the trash can of history. And they're dumping Trump into the trash can of history.
Yeah. But do they really think they could kidnap an acting president of the United States with all his security?
Well, the way things are going, why wouldn't they? Let's look at it for a second. President Trump is starting to consider a lot, not Iranians, but a lot of Middle Easterns who are paid by Iranian regime. He's considering a lot of them friends now, from Syria to Saudi Arabia to Qatar. So if he continues blindly dealing with them, shaking their hands, having dinner with them, there will definitely be an opportunity for hired by IRGC members to kidnap him.
Well, particularly if he keeps making trips overseas, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not as worried about him here in the U.S., but when he goes overseas, I just don't know how the Secret Service, when he goes overseas to certain countries, those guys must just have a really hard time sleeping until they get out of the country. Because how would the Secret Service, even regardless of how many agents they bring with them and their SWAT teams with them, how are you going to overcome the assets that are in a foreign country?
You can't, especially in those countries. Like just even the smallest. Let's talk about Qatar for a minute. How do you say it?
Qatar.
Qatar. Yes. Let's talk about that. A small, very small country in comparison to other ones, but Qatar can easily be not even involved. Not saying they won't be, but they can deny any involvement because they have other Islamic militia groups inside their country. All it takes is for 3, let's say, members of IRGC, members of Houthi members, and some of the Qatari militia groups to coordinate an attack on Qatar government or Qatari security and President Trump's security. It's a matter of 20 to 25 minutes. Even if we get some of our military members inside the Qatari base to react, they're going to be too late. Because it's so small, then immediately if they coordinate correctly on a proper destination from the airport, they have 7 to 8 minutes to exit the country and to be in the next country. There's nothing that we can do at that point. Yes, we have to declare war, but what is that going to fix? But I genuinely don't think anyone in his administration is sitting there giving him the information I just mentioned. Like nobody's thinking about that because nobody's taking it serious enough. Because we just bombed their nuke site, so we're just that powerful.
Let's go to some of your Substacks. Let's see. Here's one. Oil, nukes, and Sharia. What could possibly go wrong? We funded bin Laden's harbor, Now we're building their energy empire too. Tell me about this at liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Tell me about this, please.
Yeah, there you go. Another miscalculation by President Trump and his administration. So apparently we just reached a business deal with Pakistan. Now, mind you, this is the same Pakistan that has, on Substack I mentioned, but highlighting it, this is the same Pakistan that has reportedly estimated 170 nuclear bombs. This is the same Pakistan that's funding jihad in Middle East. This is the same Pakistan that's shaking hands of Taliban and allowing Taliban in Pakistan to run their business. The same Pakistan that has not had a single prime minister in the history of their country that ever finished a term. That's how there is no stability in this nation, this country. But we just came to an agreement with them that Trump administration and United States of America is going to help them with manpower, equipment, experts, and all that to tap into their oil reserves. Now, I understand if they add to world's oil, then that's a good thing, but I need to mention Pakistan is of right now the best. Let's say we get very lucky, because history says any European country that tried it, they ended up digging and getting to nothing. But even if we get lucky and hit every single reserve, the best we got is less than 300 million barrels of oil. Now, to a lot of people might think, oh, that's a lot. No, it isn't, because you have Iran with over 160 billion barrels. Let's not even touch Saudi Arabia with over 250 billion barrels. You do a comparison, I don't even understand this still, Brandon. Why are we wasting manpower, energy, experts, time, possibly money, equipment to go drill oil for Pakistan so they can have a secondary leverage over us? Their nuke is already a leverage. A few weeks ago, if you remember, they were making threats of nuking India. Remember that? Now we want to give them more power, more money, so they can fund more jihad and also have higher leverage against us Western countries with the history of Pakistan. I really don't know who gave him this advice, by him, President Trump. But again, it's another disaster Trump administration is creating in the Middle East.
Are you getting invited to the Christmas White House party this year?
No, but he did invite me to iftar party of next year for Ramadan.
Here's the next one. From Hamas to Warlords. Tell me about this one.
Okay. This one is even worse because it's flying completely under the radar. I don't think anyone has heard of this until I published it. So we have a new good guy in Gaza border, painted as a good guy. Him and his militia are collaborating with IDF as of right now. Yes, that's accurate. They're actually doing some of the checkpoints in some of the areas where the trucks of aids are coming in. However, this good guy, Yasser al-Shabaab is his name, he has reached out to U.S., not even Israel, to U.S., again, Trump administration, asking for U.S. to give him control over Gaza instead of Hamas. And looks like we're entertaining this idea, and we've been talking to Netanyahu, and Netanyahu is now entertaining the idea. Normally people would be like, well, that's a great thing. Somebody who's already working with IDF is willing to help with Gaza. Here's the problem. First of all, Yasser was in Hamas prison serving 25 years, which normally would look like a good thing. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. But he wasn't in there because he was a Christian or he questioned Muhammad. No, he was in there because he was trafficking drugs in humans. So he's a human and drug trafficker. The reason he's out and free right now is after October 7th, series of attacks. One of the attacks pretty much damaged one of the prisons. A lot of prisoners fled. He was one of them. He wasn't freed, or he wasn't, signed off as you're not guilty. He ran, regrouped with his militia, and then showed up in Gaza, hiding behind IDF protection by offering IDF services. Now, mind you, Yasser himself, on a recent interview to one of the Arabic networks, has admittedly said, yes, we steal some of the aid trucks ourselves, but Hamas is still more of them, so we're not the bad guys. So to quickly recap, Yasser is a drug lord, human trafficker, Muslim who makes his militia members do the 5 times a day prayer every day with guns and training, who is stealing from the aids that's going into Gaza, and it's hiding behind IDF, not because he's pro-Israel, because he wants to be protected from Hamas. And this guy potentially could become the new boss of Gaza, which to me, Brannon, isn't this the same thing that happened with Hamas? Israel allowed Hamas to grow to oppose PLO, and then we got the Hamas problem. Now we're going to let Yasser and his militia, which, by the way, they call themselves People's Force, let them go up against Hamas, replace Hamas. I mean, we've seen this in Gaza, and we've seen this in Africa. What happened when Western countries told the militia, gun-holding man, to become peacekeepers of local? Look what happened in Nigeria. Boko Haram was born. So this is where we're going. Just a heads up, there's a good chance in a year or two we have a fresh, brand new group, not called Hamas, but doing exactly what Hamas is doing.
Well, I read a tweet earlier today, whether it's true or not. I read a tweet from a news group that Netanyahu was going to turn Gaza over to an international group to manage it. Then I hear today that no, Israel's going to keep control of it. Which one is it going to be?
Actually, yesterday when I concluded on my show right here on your network, Worldview Tube, I did say, I pray that my guess is incorrect, because the latest is they're going to do, well, Netanyahu, Bibi has the vote for complete military takeover. I hear the word complete military takeover. I know what Yasser has been proposing with his militia military man. My guess is actually they're going to hand it over to Yasser, thinking he's from them. He was, imprisoned by Hamas. So they're going to do the takeover, clear out Hamas, and then hand it over to People's Force, which will be a huge mistake, but it all points that way right now.
Is that the international group he's referring to, or is that a false news report?
No, they are not an international group. I have not. I don't have any confirmation that there is a talk of an international group to manage Gaza.
So, they have a pattern, like you said. They also, after the war, gave custody of the Temple Mount to the Muslims. I mean, that was a dumb decision then. They just seem to keep making one bad decision after another. I mean, it's at some point, Israel is in a spot, sometimes, not always. I mean, they're surrounded by Islamists that hate them, but they find themselves in these messes of their own making.
I would agree to a point with you, but it's not all on Israel. The only mistake Israel
I agree. It's not on all Israel. I don't mean to imply that. You're right. But they didn't have to give custody of the Temple Mount to them. They didn't have to ask all the Jews to leave Gaza. I mean, they keep doing these things that make the problem worse.
Yeah, but to their understanding, or at least the pressure they're feeling right now, listen, they didn't have to agree to a ceasefire. They could have finished the regime of Iran and be done with it. But U.S. put the pressure on them. If you look back, it has always been Israel had to choose between finishing the job or not turning one of the Western countries against them.
But I thought it was Israel that told Trump what to do. I thought Israel was the people running America. I thought Israel and the Jews run the world, which of course that's the lie, right? That's the lie. But everything
that is the propaganda.
Everything shows the exact opposite, that the U.S. keeps bringing Israel to heel over and over. It doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat. They keep calling Israel to heel.
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's not even a mistake. They have been put in a very bad position for a long time. They either go up against these Islamists and finish them, or they have to go up against the Western countries. Israel doesn't have what it takes to go up against us or EU. But then we don't want to face that. because we never want to take the blame. We don't do anything wrong. So the propaganda is, Jews run America and Bibi tells Trump what to do. But this time, I really think if they make this mistake of handing it over to People's Force or Yasser al-Shabaab, I really think this will be the last mistake they're going to make. And we're all going to pay the price for it. Because it's going to take less than a week, maybe 2, for Islamic Republic of Iran's regime to buy out Yasser.
Let's go to a tweet by I think this one was the FBI director. Yeah, here it is. This is from August 6th.
Kash Patel?
Yeah, Kash Patel. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force arrested a man in Long Beach for allegedly sending money to ISIS and pledging allegiance to terrorist organizations that target Americans. Now, we covered this the other day with Colonel Rob Maness. Notice the switch. Now, I don't know if that is a switch to set a timer. And Colonel Maness is an expert on this because he was part of, in the military, dealing with these and diffusing these. So he was commenting on this. But he said there's ball bearings. In fact, you can even see them in there. You can see them right there, right in between the cans. You can see the ball bearings in those plastic bags right there. You can see them down there further. Man, maybe you can zoom in on that, Logan. See those ball bearings in there? You're going to try to zoom in on those. You can see them. But Colonel Maness was talking. Who's at the controls? Is that Thomas or? Okay, it's Logan. See the ball bearings are right in there between those cans. Now, Maness was saying this thing could kill a lot of people. And the switch either starts a timer, or he said this could very well just be part of a suicide vest type mechanism. The fact that they found this, we're thankful for that. But remember, Sarah Adams is talking about these multiple teams that go in and fight to the death. What do you make of this being found and support the guys being tied back to ISIS?
Well, I would say I'm very happy they caught the guy. Because I don't have any expertise, believe it or not. I'm an ex-Muslim, but I don't know how to make bombs. I don't have any expertise on that. But even if it would take one person out, that's plenty. We have given enough lives to Islamic Jihad, especially in America. I'm glad he was caught. But the question is, how many of him are out there, Brennan? And how many more of these devices have been made that we're not aware of? Mm-hmm. And when are they planning to test them or come out in 5, 6, 10 cities and trigger every single one of them? These are the moments that when FBI sees these cases, they really need to shift their focus and emphasize on finding these people faster. Because we both know this. He wasn't alone. He wasn't the first. He wasn't the last. Now, this arrest, is this going to speed it up? Are they going to panic and come out sooner? Are they going to slow down, back down for an extra week before they attack? I don't know. I'm just not comfortable. Well, I'm glad it was found. I'm just not comfortable knowing it was found. Mm-hmm. Well, if that makes sense.
Well, But the reason I bring it up is so people who think we're crying wolf or being sensational, talking about these things in advance, we're not. And when they keep finding bombs, then there's a problem. I mean, did you see the guy that had the LP tanks and gasoline in New York?
I did hear. I did not see any videos or pictures, but I did hear from a friend who called me and said that, seems like New York might be having another attack.
Mm-hmm. Here it is. Here's the video. Look at this. Look at this. We'll start it over. Look at that. Look at all those LP tanks.
Oh, wow.
Look at the gas.
This vehicle, this guy tried to run off. Well, he's not there, but they caught up with him. He ran off. And this is what they got from the vehicle. On 46.
Oh, he ran off.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this.
Do we know if he was captured?
Not yet, I don't.
Look at what they're getting from the vehicle.
Look at all that, Annie.
Look at this, guys.
Wow.
Very serious. This is on 42nd Street.
On 22nd Street, New York City.
Yeah. Look at this.
Look at all the cops taking pictures. I mean, that's not official duty stuff there. I got to show my wife or my friends this. They won't believe it.
It's crazy.
Yes, they will not believe it.
Look at them. Every one of those cops was taking pictures because they couldn't
I
believe
did
it.
notice that.
You did notice that, right?
Yes, I
mean,
did notice that.
those cops see stuff every day. They're not taking pictures of a lot of stuff because it's routine. Every one of those cops that looked like pulled out their camera because that is not something you see every day. And it's like, oh my. When I go home and tell my family this, they're not going to believe it. I better bring a picture to prove it.
Here's my receipt, exactly. And again, I just heard the lady saying the guy took off running.
Right.
And the question is, was he caught? Do we know if they got him? Or is he out there replanning his plan? And that's the thing. If I could add to something you said, when you said to people who think we're just, talk about this kind of stuff ahead of time, I prefer for us to tell people to watch your back and be ready than withhold that information and come out afterwards.
Yep.
And, tell people, well, I knew, we know people like that, Brennan, who don't say anything. And then when something happens, they're like, well, I knew it's going to happen. Well, why didn't you inform people? Why didn't you put the information out there then? There is no harm in having the knowledge. We all pray that never happens, but we all know they wake up every morning thinking how to destroy America.
Let's go to Ilhan Omar.
Why? Do we have to?
Yeah, we do. Because Laura Loomer out there is getting into it with Ilhan. Ilhan, apparently, if this is really her account, which I think it is, JD Vance.
It is her account.
Okay, JD Vance and another pedophile protection party officials. I guess the report is that he was going to have a meeting about Epstein at his residence with other people in the administration, are holding an emergency meeting tonight. That's supposed to have been last night. Over their strategy on the Epstein files. This cover-up is a disgrace to Epstein's victims. The American people deserve transparency and accountability. Release the files. Laura said, as a Muslim, what makes you think you have any authority talking about pedophilia? You worship a pedophile false prophet who raped a 9-year-old. The rag on your head is a sign of respect for the pedophile you worship. Sit this one out, Ilhan. Muhammad was a pedophile. Oh, mic drop.
Yeah. Way to go, Loomer. Yeah, what do you add to that? Except, you could say you also don't have any authority to talk about pedophilia because, you don't mind marrying your own brother. But that's an old case, I guess. Or you could say, okay, we'll release the Epstein file as soon as you tell us which one is your real husband. The brother husband or the husband husband? Unfortunately, this is a topic. I agree with Loomer, and everybody knows I don't like. I wish we didn't have to deal with Ilhan, but I'm going to have to also say that I agree this Epstein file needs to be dealt with once and for all with transparency. Let's separate the issues. Ilhan Omar has no authority to talk about pedophilia, correct, but she does have a point there. I don't agree with the first part. I don't even know JD Vance is, I don't know, why is JD Vance being called a pedophile? Unless I missed a memo.
Well, I guess it was a pedophile. It was like, what did she say? A pedophile. We had a pedophile emergency meeting about Epstein.
Oh yeah, pedophile protector party. That's what she called them. But I would like to separate the issues. Yes, she should just resign and go back to Somalia, or we should deport her. We have plenty grounds, but she's got a point. Everybody should push for this Epstein issue. At this point, it's not even about the file. I don't even trust whatever file being released. I won't trust it. Too late. It feels like whatever is if they release anything, I will not trust what was released.
What's in it now, yeah.
Exactly. But I do agree that we do need to put pressure without accusations, without name calling. In general, we need to stop that altogether, unless it really applies like Loomer calling Mohammed a pedophile. That's factual.
That's factual.
That's not name calling. But we do need to at least come to realization that emphasizing on Epstein issue in this country is important right now.
Let's talk about, real quick in closing, all the Christians being slaughtered.
Where? Syria? Lebanon?
Exactly.
Iran? Where are we going? Azerbaijan?
Mozambique, Nigeria.
Yeah.
Mozambique, I think we just had a bunch that were killed in Mozambique, did we not?
Yes.
And then Nigeria, Robert Spencer is saying Muslims have murdered over 50,000 Christians since 2009 in Nigeria. Mozambique was another one this week. These things, aside from this broadcast and a few other conservative outlets, this doesn't make a lot of news anymore. It's just people aren't interested in this stories. Can you believe that? Can you believe that Christians are being murdered and people aren't talking about it, even in America?
I actually do. 3 years ago, Brandon and I put out a post on my Facebook, which received a lot of backlash, which is okay. I'm used to it. But I actually put a post out saying the most hated and executed people on earth are Christians. However, there will never be enough a spotlight on them as long as the Israel-Palestine conflict exists. Now, a lot of people took me wrong, called me anti-Semite, but what I was pointing out, you know what I was pointing out. It's exactly what we see today. Anti-Semitism is a skyrocketing, no question about it. However, they have always realized that, first of all, Christians are not minority like Jews. So getting rid of us needs a quiet corner. So they kept fueling the fire of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia while underneath the Christians are being slaughtered.
Mm-hmm.
That has always been the strategy. So yes, I believe it. It's not shocking at all.
And then finally, Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas pressing for revocation of Terrified Care, that's Council on American Islamic Relations, tax-exempt status, which, of course,
yes,
the Muslim Brotherhood started in 1928. Hamas, they started in 1987, and then they started CARE in 1994. Well, he's right. He's right. But why is he doing this now? Is he setting up to run for president? Why is he doing this?
I will say what I'm about to say. I can neither deny or confirm, but I was actually informed by some involved that my expose on CARE and their standing tax exemption on my Substack somehow landed on 5 senators' desk. One of them has directly contacted me, by the way, from Texas.
Really?
And yes, and some other officials. And some, including him, didn't even know about the tax exemption or about the 501c3 status. So that they have done their own investigation, come to realize my information is factual, and decided to make a move. Again, I'm not saying this is me. This is what I was told by the senator office that I was contacted by. So it looks like that has made some noise. Legally, some legislators are thinking, I did call them out on that Substack, if you remember. Like, I don't have the power to revoke this, but you do, so we'll leave you to your duties. So, Lord willing, that's what started this.
Well, good. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job, Annie.
Thank you.
Let's see here real quick. I touched on this with Patrick Wood today. The European Union proposal to scan all private messages gains momentum. So you and I texting with our buddy Peter McAvena in Great Britain. If this goes through, they're going to be scanning all the messages that we're sending back and forth in Great Britain to him.
What are they doing to EU? Like, what is EU doing?
The EU is cracking down on free speech, cracking down on freedom of religion, letting Islam grow. They also, by the way, are going to, I have it on my Worldview Report. If you go to Worldview Report, you'll see that I have here, EU's technocratic border control will be launched in October. It applies to all non-EU visitors. So they're doing the border control. They're going to a digital dollar. I mean, I said today on radio with Patrick Wood, you know, I believe the Bible talks about what is a Eurocentric world government. If you look at Daniel, out of the book of Daniel, particularly, I think you're headed toward a Eurocentric world government. And already you see Europe doing everything that would lay the foundation for a man to rise out of that area, which I think will be the Antichrist. So Europe is well on their way to the mark of the beast, social credit scores, controlling everything. No wonder, you know, the Bible talks about people being murdered and slaughtered so fast during the tribulation period. As they come to Christ, they're being slaughtered about as quickly as they come to Christ. Well, sure. I mean, anything you text or whatever is going to be, by then, who knows what the technology will be, but they're going to be able to identify you very quickly by anything you're putting out. But here's the EU wanting to scan all of our communications.
Well, I guess what I don't understand is, okay, so if you're part of EU or resident or citizen, fine. But this way, they're infringing on our rights, right?
That's right.
As
That's
you
right.
said.
And I thought we fought an American Revolution with them over this kind of garbage, right?
Exactly where I was going with this. I'm like, are we going to have another revolution? The whole purpose was for us to have our own rights that are much better than theirs. But seems like there won't be a line drawn. Like, it's not just internal messaging. It's any message that comes to their devices, which is ridiculous. Well, the question is, are they going to monitor all the Islamic jihadist messages and go get them too?
No, just us.
I doubt it.
Just us. And can I just tell you, Annie, my concern when I see all these alligator Alcatraz and all this stuff being built and people cheering this on, and they tell me that this is being built so they can put illegals into it. I'm thinking to myself, we couldn't just throw up some tents in a big old field. The federal government owns so much land. We couldn't put some porta potties up and some big old tents and put them in there until we deport them. We had to go build full on alligator Alcatraz. What about all those white tents? We had our reporters from Michael Yon to Todd Bensman to the guys at Muckrakers, Anthony Rubin. They were showing us through drone footage all of these white tents inside chain link fences that were already built during the Biden administration. Why do we need to build all these extra ones? I'm concerned the Trump administration, whether they know it or not, is building the infrastructure that could be turned around, from biometrics to everything else that's going on that they're building with Palantir and with ChatGPT and all the rest of it. I'm afraid they're building the system that's going to be turned on conservatives and Christians. Am I wrong to be that suspicious?
Not at all. I would just make a tweak and say it's going to turn against free thinkers. You don't have to be a conservative. If you have a thought process of your own, you will become an enemy at some point in this country, whatever that thought process might be. And also, even if you look at it legally, an illegal, there is no process. We have created this process, Brannon. By law and by constitution, if you cross the border without documentation, meaning without a visa or without an I-94, anything that is allowing you into the country, immediate deportation is on the table. Immediate. There is no need of court date. There is no requirement of asylum because, for the record, immigration it's a privilege. It is not a right. So nobody has to listen to your case. And if you had a case, you should have gone through the proper channels like the rest of us, so we could listen to you and we could hear you. And then we could decide if we want you in here or not. But there is no need even for tents. They're illegals. Get them on a plane. Get them back to wherever they came from. End of a story. Tax dollars are being wasted.
Why are they really building this?
Because soon they have to close in on all of us who will fight for our freedoms and liberties until death. Mm-hmm. They need to have a place to lock us up without calling it a prison or a gulag. So they're just going to build that. We will become illegals at some point.
liveuptofreedom.substack.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Leave us with some good news. Do you have any?
Yes, here's great news for me and your audience. I just brought 30 brand new products, never made before, new designs to my artist store. You have not seen these before. They are all faith-based, brand new products, including earrings and necklaces. So here's good news. You can go get some brand new looks. That was literally the only good news I have.
Well,
no, I do have great news, but that's not new news. But the great news is, Brannon, at the end of the day, we know what's going to happen at the end. And we know we're on the right side of history, humanity, and faith. So we just need to hang in there, do the right thing, continue seeing the light while they try to make our life as dark as possible.
And I said to Patrick today, I said, the more I study the book of Revelation, the more I believe that Islam plays a major role in Bible prophecy. When you look at Gog Magog, you see these Islamic nations there, but people being killed by the sword. I mean, who kills people by the sword? Islam. You see so many other things in the scripture that cause me to believe that Islam plays a major role. And your major Bible prophecy writers of the 70s and 80s, John Whitcomb, John Walvoord, David Hawking, the list goes on and on, Robert L. Thomas. A lot of these guys didn't talk about Islam in their Bible prophecy analysis because Islam would not have been a major global threat in the 1970s and 80s. Today it is. And I think Islam is going to play a major role in America and in Bible prophecy and globally. And if I had to say it, now good, I'm not trying to be a downer tonight, but the trajectory that I see with Islam capturing 18 major American cities, with the rise of the Islamists in Congress, in running major cities, the mayor running in New York, the mayor running in Minneapolis, all of this, the media, the hate crime laws that are one-sided towards those of us who speak truth, the fact that Islam can basically run and take over Texas, of all places, and have Pakistani Day from the state capitol. I believe, it's my personal belief, that God is giving America over and that he's using Islam to judge America. And I believe America is going to fall to Islam. I believe that's going to happen. Just like Europe is falling to Islam, I believe America will fall to Islam. And I think that's part of God's judgment per Romans 1. I think we see that in the book of Nahum, the Old Testament book of Nahum, when they were plotting evil against the Lord. That was a tipping point for judgment. And we see that the Assyrians were used by God to bring judgment, right? But then eventually God judged the Assyrians. I think God is going to use Islam to judge many Western nations, and then God's going to turn around and judge Islam, probably in Ezekiel 38:39. Would you agree with any of that?
I would, yes. However, I don't see us falling to Islam. I think it will get as bad as Spain. But I don't think we're gonna I don't think they're gonna get to fly their flag over our White House. It will get really bad. It will. But I still like to believe that there is enough of the current generation of Christians that will stand up when the time comes. It's gonna be late, but it's not gonna be too late.
But of course, let's say we're 20 years down the road. 20 years down the road, I'm 76 years old.
Yes, but I can testify that you have raised your children to not sit down and let this thing take over.
True, but my kids are the minority.
But that's where I say I don't think it is. I don't think your kids will be the minority.
You don't? By then you think
I don't.
You think we're going to see a revival in America?
Yes. I truly believe that's why I said the current generation being the generation that in 20, 25 years become my or your age. Very soon, there will be that moment where your kids will have influence on the kids who are falling for the propaganda of pro-Palestine and LGBTQ and all of that. They will reverse this.
Let's pray they do. Wow. One more little video. This is, I guess things are heating up in Lebanon. Shia groups start taking to the streets in Lebanon after the government decided to disarm Hezbollah. Here's what we got tonight. Wow. All right.
Those are some serious Hezbollah flags flying.
Yeah.
Whew.
What can you tell me about this?
Well, I actually reported on this a couple of times this week. The Hezbollah leader came out and pretty much said, we are not going to agree to being disarmed. Their terms are ridiculous. They will, if Israel would give up all fights, would all countries, including, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, and basically pull their military off borders, which is impossible. So he did say that we will not agree to being disarmed. And then the government of Lebanon ordered their military, the country military, to disarm Hezbollah, whatever it takes. The first attempt failed pretty badly, actually. I don't know why they think a handful of soldiers are going to handle Hezbollah. Bottom line is, it looks like if we are not being careful, and by we, I literally mean Trump administration, Lebanon might actually fall into Hezbollah's hands.
Well, so are we talking civil war?
We are talking civil war. We're talking Syria, what just happened in January. That might happen in Lebanon, especially because right now Islamic Republic of Iran has full force to try to get Hezbollah more power in Lebanon. So, yes, there's a good chance that Lebanon might become Hezbollah's territory fully. No more government, no more officials, just literally, as I said, becomes Gaza border or Syria or, I don't know, you name it, any other country we have stepped in and destroyed in the Middle East.
And I hate to toot our own horn, but how many groups are reporting on this tonight?
I except my Facebook and Substack, I have not heard anyone talk about Hezbollah disarming in Lebanon until now when you brought it up.
Mm-hmm. Just these things are just not on the radar of most groups, are they? They really are not.
No, because there is such a, please pardon me for using this term, but there is such an arrogant going on between the two sides of aisle of media, either main or alternative media. It's just they don't understand certain things that they're arguing over are so irrelevant to the problems today.
Mm-hmm. Well, I say that when I often walk through the room and then Fox News was on. I finally got them to turn that off because I don't have to see those gals with their big puffed up lips. I mean, lips that are just like, I think they're about to pop. Some serious lip injections on a few of the chicks I saw recently on Fox. I'm like, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to look at that. But I walked through the room and stopped for a minute, and the conversations are just so juvenile and stupid. I'm like, has Fox turned into The View? Because it's just a bunch of dumb people swapping their opinion on stuff that really doesn't matter.
Well, it's not just Fox News, though, Brandon. As I said, look at just tomorrow morning, get on Rumble, on the homepage of Rumble. Look at all the big names with millions of viewers. Look at their topics. You're like, who cares? And why are you all talking about the same thing anyways? Why don't we share our platforms, right?
Yeah. Well,
can some of us...
My opinion, Annie, is that some of these influencers out here, they are controlled. They are funded and they are controlled, whether by the RNC, the GOP, the CIA. I believe a lot of these groups out here are heavily controlled. They got where they got because they got help, they got pushed, they got lifted. A lot of these people, they've never written books. They've never produced documentaries. They're not that bright. We never heard of them until the last few years. They don't have a long track record. Mine, 35 years, yours, 25 plus years, whoever it is now, 20 years. They don't have what you and I have. And I'm thinking, where do these people come from? They don't have resumes that are really impressive at all. And yet you get this following. And I really think they got help. I think we know the FBI, the CIA, some of their guys infiltrated some of the social media platforms, according to numerous reports. I think there's a big psych op going. We always talk about the psych op on the right, the liberals controlling the media, but I think there's a psych op on the right, not just the left, the right, as well, where a lot of the people that are the so-called influencers, Dr. Annie Woods calls them sinfluencers. I think a lot of these people on the right, they're controlled, whether they know it or not. They've been boosted and controlled, and they stay in a simple, shallow, non-really important area of topics because that's what they're there for, is to distract from conversations and people like what we talk about. Agree or disagree?
100% agreed. Yes. Their position is to distract from whatever they're told to distract people from. And immediately they come out back to back from morning to night. Every single one of them start changing narrative, changing something becomes more important and more breaking than the important topic that was running on air.
And that
yes,
can't be
100%.
coincidental. Cannot be coincidental, I don't think.
No, absolutely not.
liveuptofreedom.com and liveuptofreedom.substack.com. Again, liveuptofreedom.com, liveuptofreedom.substack.com. 2 different websites. Check them out. And lutfstudio.com. Annie Cyrus. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you, Brandon. Stay safe.
You too, my friend. We'll be right back after this break.
True beauty isn't applied. It's nourished from within. Bella Grace Elixir, a luxurious, scientifically crafted blend designed to restore radiance, vitality, and strength at a cellular level. At the heart of Bella Grace Elixir lies cat's claw, a powerful herb from the Amazon known for its ability to control inflammation and protect collagen. With Verisol collagen peptides, it goes beyond the surface, stimulating your body's natural collagen production to reduce fine lines, improve skin elasticity, and promote real, visible change. Bella Grace Elixir doesn't stop at collagen. It includes astaxanthin, one of nature's most powerful antioxidants. 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C, astaxanthin protects your skin from harmful UV rays and environmental stress, while locking in hydration and promoting a radiant, youthful glow. Experience the power of nature with Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Discover the science behind Bella Grace Elixir at melissahousebg.com. Read powerful testimonials from doctors and real customers who've experienced life-changing results, and explore other wellness products from Bella Grace. Bella Grace Elixir is more than just a product. It's a solution. Visit melissahousebg.com today.
All right, welcome back. Dolly says hello. How you doing tonight, Dolly? You doing good? You're looking good. You and all that gatatana you take in every morning on your dog food got you looking good, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Now look at these teeth. Look how white those teeth are. Do you know that gatatana whitens her teeth because that phytoplankton? Look at those white teeth. Like, leave me alone, Dad. That phytoplankton, it actually, when I looked it up, is supposed to be really good for helping keep their teeth clean and white. So anyway, there you go. Good girl. All right, we got a special treat for you. Oh, by the way, you can get that at melissahousegpa.com. Melissa House. We have a lower third for that. melissahousegpa.com. melissahousegpa.com. All right, there it is. All right, we got a big treat for you tonight. Remember, we have our own reporter on the ground in Israel, Aaron. And we've been asking him to go because he's for 30 years, he's been a licensed tour guide in Israel. So I said, hey, Aaron, what if we were to give you an honorarium for going out and doing tours, filming them, and send them to us? A workman's worthy of his hire. We'll give you an honorarium for every one of these you turn into us. And then we can share it with our listening friends and viewing friends. We can put it on our history channel, replay it. We can keep this going for a long time and archive a bunch of these tours going all over Israel. And he said, yeah, let's do that. So he's been filing these reports for us. Well, now he's gone to the Dead Sea, and he's going to report to us tonight from the Dead Sea. Now, before we go, I got to remind you, we're paying him to do this, okay? Because, well, you want to see it. I want to see it. I've never been to Israel. I have no plans of going to Israel in this life. And I'd like to learn more about the areas there and hear about them. And I know you would as well. So it's a special broadcast program we're doing. But we have to have budgets for this kind of thing. So if you appreciate this, please make a contribution to our foundation so we can keep giving these love offerings / honorariums to Aaron to go and do educational ministry programming like this. Please go over there, will you now? Worldviewfoundation.com. You'll also find our mailing address there if you prefer to support us through the mail. Worldviewfoundation.com. As I say, there's so many things that we can do and produce if we simply have your support. Okay. I was on the phone today with one of our camera guys that I've been working with since he was 17. His dad owned the company at the time, and they would film our Branson Worldview Weekend. And Michael was 17. Now Michael's like, what, 38, Logan? You like 38, 39? Then I was on the phone with him this afternoon, and I said, hey, can I hire you to go to a couple historical places here in the U.S. and just film it all for me? And then I can use all that to make my historical documentaries and bring educational documentary programming to you guys. I mean, I'd like to go to those places too. And I've been to a lot of them. So there's not really any reason for me to go back, but I do want to get some updated footage, particularly, 4K, high quality 4K footage. So I'm like, would you be willing to go to, and I rattled off these historical places here in the US. And he said, yeah, absolutely. And I said, then you give me all that footage and then I'll write my script. We bring in all the B-roll footage and all the other graphics and things that Logan does in between my script and your camera footage and Logan's a great production. We can crank out all kinds of historical programs to share here as well as on our History Channel, right? You've enjoyed the documentary, I know, on Robert E. Lee, the documentary on the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan. We have one coming on the Space Shuttle Discovery. We have one coming up on Ford's Theater and the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, including the house and the room in which he died in. We got all that filmed. We filmed all of that. We were in D.C. We have so many documentaries yet to release to you free of charge. So between Aaron and Michael and all things we can do, folks, we can produce a lot of quality, historical, educational, biblical worldview programming here. The thing we just have to have are the budgets. So please consider going now, if you would, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. You make that commitment to us financially. We're going to keep making the commitment in time and production to bring you these very, very special and timeless programs that you can also share with your kids and your grandkids and your friends, right? So here we go. Brought to you by you through Worldview Foundation. Here we go. Aaron Lavarco, our reporter on the ground in Israel and our personal tour guide, taking us to the Dead Sea.
Well, shalom, everyone. Aaron Lavarco speaking to you from Israel on behalf of Worldview Television and Radio. I'm standing here in the southern part of Israel. This is called the Judean Desert or the Judean Wilderness. This was part of where the tribe of Judah had her allotted territory. The two southern tribes were Judah and Simeon. The Judean Desert or the Judean Wilderness is a barren area filled with mountains and rocks, as you can see there. It's on a very, very hot day today. We're talking about 95 degrees or about 36, 37 Celsius. This Judean desert is part of a long, long rift valley. You can see down in the valley there, that's the Dead Sea. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. But that Dead Sea is part of the Syrian African Jordan Rift Valley. And according to geologists and geothermologists, many, many years ago, under the Earth's surface, the tectonic plates had a movement and they sank, and they created about a 4,000 mile rift valley, or 7,000 kilometers. And what was created or discovered was the Dead Sea down here, the Sea of Galilee, all the way from Syria up in the north to some of the mountains in Africa like Mount Kilimanjaro. And for geologists, this is like a gold mine because of the different rock formations, and certainly down at the Dead Sea as well. So this Rift Valley, which, as I say, is the longest rift valley in the world, and but also created here is the Judean Desert. And we have a lot of history, especially in the Bible, in this Judean Desert. We have the story of the Israelites coming through. Remember how the Israelites wandered for 40 years in the wilderness? That was a little bit further south, but they actually, when they came up on the other side there. Do you see the mountains behind me in the distance? They are the Jordanian mountains. They are the mountains of Moab. The mountains of Moab were given to a man called Moab, and he was one of the sons of Lot's wife. Remember the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Now this area, this region, is believed to be the region also of Sodom and Gomorrah. In fact, we have archaeologists, the Rittmeyers especially, are continuing to do research and trying to find where the high levels of sulfur were. But basically, this general area here by the Dead Sea in the Judean desert is the area where it's believed Sodom and Gomorrah was. And remember the story where the Lord told Lot to flee, don't look back. Sadly, his wife, she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. But Lot fled, and his two daughters were with him. And it was on that other side that they fled. And they were in caves, and they had wine, and they were drinking wine. And the two daughters got their father Lot drunk. They slept with him. One child was born called Ammon, from where we get the Ammonites. And the other child was Moab, from where we get the Moabites. And that region behind me is the area of the Moabites. Now, it's a sad, terrible story, an incestuous story, but it's not the end of the story, because there is a story of redemption that comes from there, because there was a lady called Ruth the Moabitess, and she ends up following her Jewish mother-in-law Naomi. She comes back to this side, she goes to a place called Bethlehem, and we'll remember the story, she ends up gleaning in the fields of a man called Boaz. And Boaz became the kinsman redeemer. He redeemed her, and they had a child called Obed, and Obed and his wife had a child called Jesse, and Jesse and his wife had a child called David. And it was promised to David that from his seed would come the Mashiach, the Messiah, the Christ, the Anointed One. So that beautiful story that started out of disobedience, out of sin and incestuous, ends up being a story of redemption because of that wonderful man Boaz. You know what they say about Boaz before he met Ruth? You know what kind of a man he was? They say he was a very ruthless man. And it's true, he was, but he cast his eye on this Moabitess, and from that we have the Messiah. And interestingly, if you look at the genealogies of Yeshua, Jesus, you will see Ruth mentioned in his genealogy. So that gives us hope. No matter what our ancestral genealogical past may be, no matter how dark it may be, God, our kinsman redeemer, through the person of Yeshua, can bring redemption. And so this area, Sodom, Gomorrah, the Judean desert, gives us a message of hope, and a hope for all the nations, whether you're Jew or whether you're Gentile. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Aaron Lavaco once again. And I'm now down in what I was talking about earlier before, in the area called the Syrian-African Rift Valley, and I'm actually standing at the lowest place on the face of the planet Earth. I'm at the Dead Sea, and the Dead Sea is believed to be the lowest place that is still inhabited relatively in the area. Not too far from here, by the way, is Jericho, which is believed to be the lowest city in the world. We're about 1,300 feet below sea level. And as I mentioned, the Dead Sea was created because of the tectonic plates under the Earth's surface that somehow moved and created a huge rift valley, the longest rift valley in the world, about 4,000 miles long. Now, where this body of water has become a blessing to Israel is because of what's inside of the water. Our experts, who in the 1960s opened up the Dead Sea factory, where they have been able to extract all kinds of things from the Dead Sea, including right here on the shore, this white salt. That's actually salt, everyone. In fact, in the Bible, this is called the Salt Sea. It's not actually called the Dead Sea. It's called the Sea of Lot, or the Salt Sea. It's not actually called the Dead Sea. But the reason why we call it the Dead Sea is because it has an inlet, but it has no outlet. The inlet is the Jordan River. The Jordan River is about 100 miles long, and it flows fresh living waters into these waters. The problem is once those fresh waters hit these waters, it becomes dead, because there's nothing that lives in this body of water. A few little microorganisms, but practically nothing. It has approximately 70% salt salinity. So when you actually get in, you don't swim, you float, you bathe yourself, you relax. And all the different minerals that are in there, like hundreds of millions of cubic meters of zinc, or magnesium, potassium, potash, bromide, and then of course the salts. And since the 1960s, the Israel Dead Sea factories, we've been extracting these salts and these minerals, and we've been using them and selling it, and it's created billions and billions of shekels or dollars over decades to the Israeli economy. And a lot of these creams, a lot of these minerals and salts, we make creams out of. Facial cream, hand cream, foot cream, body cream, day cream, night cream, anti-aging cream. That's right, anti-aging cream. I use it, you won't believe it, I'm actually 103, and I know I don't look it. That's because of the anti-aging cream. But seriously, and they're sold all around the world, many shopping malls around the world. They'll have stands where they have Israelis selling these Dead Sea creams and products. So it's been really good for the economy. But the actual bathing or soaking in this Dead Sea, probably right from the days of the Israelites and the Moabites, I mentioned across on the other side behind me, those mountains, the Moabite mountains, probably people understood the health benefits of being in this body of water. In fact, up the road in Jericho, King Herod had a fortress, not a fortress, he had a palace. And he rented that palace out to Cleopatra. And if you've ever seen the movie with Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, you'll know why Elizabeth Taylor is so beautiful, probably because she came down from Jericho to the Dead Sea and she bathed in it. And a lot of people do all around the world. In fact, I remember one time there was a group from Sweden. I was in a restaurant down here and a group came in their Speedos and in their bikinis. And the people standing behind me, I asked them, where are you from? And it was clear, every one of them had massive skin issues. And I said, where are you from? And they said, we're from Sweden and we all have skin problems. We go to our dermatologist. And part of the treatment is that we come to Israel 3 times a year for 3 weeks. And we bathe in the salts and the mineral waters here. And the sun, because of the low altitude, the sun rays also brings about a healing and has healing properties in it as well. So it's a big tourist attraction. You know, the lowest place in the world, on the earth's surface. But it's a beautiful, peaceful area. Who would have imagined many, many years ago, I'm talking about literally thousands of years ago, it wasn't so peaceful, because you have the Moabites on the one side, who became one of Israel's most fiercest enemies, and then you've got Israel on this side. So things have changed. Now it's a very peaceful place. People go to the Dead Sea on the Jordan side. People come on the Israel side. And it's just a very relaxing, peaceful, therapeutic place to come. The low altitude, the rays of the sun, and just the beautiful picturesque area. Look at the beautiful waters there. But you don't want to jump in and put your head under and swallow that water, because if you do, you probably will not come out alive. It will definitely shut down your system. So you have to be very, very careful. So it's pretty hot here today. It's about 95. And I think I might even go in and have a little dip myself. So I'll see you soon. Hey everyone, once again, Aaron Lavaco here, standing at the lowest place on the face of the planet Earth, the Dead Sea, the Syrian-African Rift Valley, created by the Earth's movement under the tectonic plates moving, creating this body of water with all the hundreds of millions of cubic meters of minerals and salts, and the beautiful, serene atmosphere down here that's made it a real touristy and local hub of relaxation. But you know, as we've been talking about down here in the Judean desert, and the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in this area, we've talked about the past, we're talking about the present, but I don't know if you are aware, but in the scriptures, there's actually a prophecy that talks about the future. In the prophet Ezekiel, he talks about one day from Jerusalem, the city of the great king. It's about an hour and a quarter's drive up the north, about 60 miles. It says that one day living waters will flow from Jerusalem. Now this is Ezekiel 47. This is after chapters 37 and 38. Chapter 37, actually chapter 36 talks about the return of the Jewish people. God saying, I'm going to bring my people back home. And we've been seeing that since the late 1800s, since the 1930s, where the Jewish people had to escape Nazi Europe, and then different waves of Jewry coming back home, as we're seeing even today through anti-Semitism, the Jews from Ukraine and Russia coming home, France, England, all around, America. So, and then after, it talks about a valley of dead bones, dry bones in chapter 37, and how that is a picture of the house of Israel. Can these dead bones live? And then it talks about the Spirit of God being breathed into them. But then in chapter 47, where it says living waters will flow from Jerusalem, the Almighty God is going to bring physical living waters. I believe there's a physical fulfillment of that passage where living waters will flow down. Some people think that it's when there's an earthquake in Jerusalem. And by the way, the Mount of Olives is on a major fault line, and that perhaps that it will split the valley and that there will be waters from underneath that will flow down the Kidron Valley. The Kidron Valley flows all the way down here to the Dead Sea. And it's interesting in that passage, there are, I think, different ways of that prophecy being fulfilled. I think there's a nationalistic. It will be for the house of Israel. There'll be cleansing. There'll be living waters. Paul, in Romans 11, he says about the Jewish people as a nation, he says, what shall their acceptance be but life from the dead? Again, those dead bones are going to come alive. Then there's going to be universal. Those living waters are not just for the Jewish people, but for the nations, because it says that when those waters flow, that there's going to be fish down here. These dead waters that you see over here, which right now there's nothing living in them, but there's going to be living waters. A supernatural miracle is going to take place where there's about 70% of salt salinity and all the minerals. How are these waters going to be living again? It's going to take nothing short of a miracle. And that's a picture of salvation for the nations. It's offered. The waters are a symbol. There'll be the physical waters, but it will be a picture, a symbol of spiritual waters. And then on an individual level, because if you look at that passage, Ezekiel says that there was a man with a rod in his hand. He was measuring. And this is a picture of the Lord as the judge. And he said, he brought me down, and the waters were ankle deep. And then they were knee deep. And then they were loins deep. And then they were so deep, I couldn't swim. But every level, Ezekiel says, then he brought me through. Then he brought me through. And that's a picture of our own salvation. The Lord opens up these living waters. He comes into our lives. Some of us, we've only let him fill us up to ankles deep. Some of us knees deep. Some of us loins deep. And some of us, we've allowed him to take full measure where the waters are so deep we can't even swim. And that's scary when we give our lives totally over to the Lord. May that be a challenge to us all, that no matter what we're going through, no matter what waters, no matter what level of sanctification that the Lord is taking us through, like Ezekiel says, then the Lord brought me through. So when those living waters came down, are going to come down here, the waters are going to be made whole, it says. There's going to be fish from En-Gedi. En-Gedi is about a half an hour north. And then it says there'll be trees with leaves for the healing of the nation. And that's a beautiful picture of what God can do in our lives, where he can bring those living waters and cleanse us from any deadness and turn our lives around and make us fruitful, make us vessels like Psalm 1. We can be like trees planted by living waters. And who are the living waters? Where do they come from? They come from Yeshua, our Lord, our Savior, Yeshua. So thank you for joining us once again on a tour of Israel from the Dead Sea, Israel. This is Aaron Lavaco with Worldview Television and Radio. Shalom for now. Bye.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. I want to thank you for all your support at wvwfoundation.com that helps make possible pushing out 24/7 content for free. Without your support, we'd have to put it all behind a paywall. But thanks to you and your support through our foundation, we're able to push it out for free as a broadcast service and broadcast ministry of WVW Foundation. Please consider going there and setting up an automatic monthly contribution, or go there and make an occasional contribution. If you prefer to support us through the mail, you'll find our mailing address there at wvwfoundation.com. You can also call and make your contribution over the phone by calling 901-825-0652. That's 901-825-0652. Again, all these details are available at wvwfoundation.com. Thank you for your support as we try to help people around the world understand the times through the lens of a Christian worldview. Joining me now is Michael Weiner as gold goes over $3,400 an ounce today. Silver is headed toward $39 an ounce. Michael, we got a lot to talk about today, like 5 reasons to buy gold in 2025. UBS issues warning, says U.S. economy entering a clear slowdown with Fed likely needing to act soon. Yeah, they do. Let's see. Here's another report. July layoffs up 140% from last year. The bubble's bursting. Delinquency rates have doubled and credit card defaults are soaring. Here is another one. We get rid of the ad. Revolt against U.S. dollar. Countries' QR code payment gains steam. Canada joins BRICS boldly, confronts U.S. economic power play. Let's start out with those, but let's start first with gold. Goes over $3,400 an ounce today. Silver around 38. What's it say up there, guys? I can't read it this far away. 38.25, and gold over $3,400 an ounce. Is that a high for gold?
No, gold was over at 35.50 at one point. So actually, it's a very good buy. Being able to buy gold below $4,000 an ounce before year end is going to be a gift.
Oh, say that again.
You know,
say that again.
People who are able to buy gold right now below $4,000 an ounce prior to year end, it's a gift. Right now, gold, as I said before, is a monetary instrument. The banks, the global banking community, including our enemies, are embracing gold as a financial instrument. The president of UBS Bank came out and stated that gold is the second strongest financial instrument in the world now, and people don't get it. But the problem that the administration is having is that when President Trump first came into office in first term, he caught everybody by surprise with tariffs. Caught them all by surprise, and they all ran, including Canada. But right now, they were prepared, and this BRICS situation gives them another gateway to go. That's not saying there's other nations I'm more concerned about in Canada. Canada is literally our diaper. They need us badly. And thinking that Canada that they're going to go to the BRICS and that's going to be good. Canada is an exporter, not a big importer. That's the whole problem with Canada. Why would they go to somebody like China who could care less about importing from them whatsoever? They need us, so it'll backfire on that idiot. But the Chinese are, and the thing that's important is the currencies. And the big battle that's coming up, and it's going to start soon, is the currency war and the reserve currency status, all of which involves gold for us in a very positive way. But that's going to affect the markets. It's going to affect devaluation. It's going to affect a lot of things. And that's why people are asleep at the wheel, Brandon. We talked about it last week. You've got an opportunity to balance and protect your portfolio, but continue not paying attention. You'll pay more later, or you might not be able to pay more later because you'll be losing so much on devaluation, you won't have the money.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Canada. Canada is joining BRICS. Boldly confronts U.S. economic power. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, all these other nations, 30-something now belonging to BRICS? And then you add Canada to it. I don't know. The more I wonder, are we headed for eventually the U.S. joining BRICS as well? You ever see that happening? You don't see that ever happening?
That's like Popeye having a wimpy burger. No, he's going to still eat spinach. The reality is that the United States is part of the World Bank. If we lose the world reserve currency status, and that's what ultimately China wants to do, we lose financial power, geopolitical power, economic power, military power. It would be devastating. I believe Trump and Bassett will win, but as I say to people, and I talk to them, I say, you want to be in the middle of a gunfight? This is going to be a battle. And everybody is literally, most people are asleep at the wheel right now. They're looking at the stock market and go, oh, it's wonderful. And I say to all of them, where were your financial guys in 2008 when the markets crashed? How come we had so many people crying or children moving in who are 45 years old?
Are you expecting a market crash, Mr. Weiner?
I'm expecting a market adjustment.
How
crash
big?
is not
How big?
the word. Anywhere from 25 to 35%. It's because of devaluation. This currency war is going to have an effect on these companies because ultimately the ability for banks to change your money to staple coins, yet they still have to go through that backdoor situation, which I sent you, and I'm sending a lot of clients that they are literally pushing CBDC through the back door through private equities. And the reality is when these prices readjust, when the reevaluation is in place, people are going to lose value in their market positions, not necessarily because the companies are bad, because the dollar is worth less. And that's why gold is there to protect them, because gold will go up dramatically.
Now, when you say you sent me an article on it, which article is that?
I sent it to you early in the week. It was an opinion that I wrote.
Okay. Well, let me go to this one right here. UBS issues warning, says U.S. economy entering a clear slowdown, with Fed likely needing to act soon. Well, yeah.
Yep. That's the same guy, Sergio Armoti, who's the president of UBS Bank, who was on TV 2 weeks ago. And he made it perfectly clear that he's concerned about the dollar. He made it perfectly clear. He stated out of his mouth that the UBS is looking at gold as the second most important financial instrument in the world, that central banks around the world are using it as money and as a buffer to be able to offset the new digital currency situation. And he said he's looking at gold hitting. I remember watching Maria Bartiromo's face at 5 o'clock in the morning when she jumped back when he said $5,000 an ounce next year. So I think what he's really saying, and also in all sincerity, is that the Federal Reserve, and I think Jerome Powell is complicit with the left. He's destroying us with these interest rates that we need to be bringing down. He's actually helping the communists, which are the Democrats, are no longer Democrats, are communist socialists. Those communists in our country, who are another party, legitimately are gaining a little steam with young people, because younger people can't afford a house because this idiot, and who's the Federal Reserve Board chairman, who in between his diaper changes, legitimately is screwing up the economy worse. I don't believe in September that he will change the interest rates.
Really?
I think he'll play games again.
Oh.
I think he won't do it until November. Yeah, he'll do everything possible to keep screwing things up and try to find excuses why.
Now, who was it that said $5,000 an ounce gold by next year?
The president of UBS Bank. It was on Maria Bartiromo's show 2 weeks ago on Monday. Sergio, I think it's Amoti or Emoti. It was on Maria Bartiromo's show. It was on a Monday morning a couple weeks ago.
And he said $5,000 an ounce gold.
Absolutely. Most assuredly. You should have seen Maria jump back.
Can you find that clip, Logan? I'm looking for it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Yes.
On Maria Bartiromo's show.
Correct. Mornings with Maria. Correct.
Yeah, he's going to look for it. I'd like to see that. I'd not seen that myself.
That was, it could be 3 weeks. It was in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but it was on a morning. I'm almost sure it was a Monday or Tuesday.
It is? Okay, Logan will see if he can find it. In the meantime, let's go to this. Revolt against the U.S. dollar. Ascend countries' QR code payment gains steam. What is that all about?
Well, when you're pulling up these QR codes, you're seeing them offering other things and doing it in the U.S. dollar in other means, and that's the Chinese at work. They want to destroy the U.S. dollar, and they are offering other forms of payment, including the Chinese SWIFT system. Earlier in the year, China developed a financial movement system called the SWIFT system to offset the World Bank's IMF, International Monetary Fund. Additionally, the Chinese came up with a credit card processing system, which is tied into this QR code. And we did nothing about it, nothing, when Biden was in control in between his diaper changes. And reality is that at this point in time, it's become more prevalent around the world, especially in the BRICS countries, which would be Indonesia. And why do you think India is moving so slowly? BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. So why do you think China is so sluggish right now moving with us? Because they're part of BRICS, and they have another way to move their money, and they have another way to transact business, and that's what they're leaning on right now. So this QR code is just another sign of the de-dollarization that's going on globally. And that if we lose that control, if we truly lose the world reserve currency status, the interest that we will pay on our money that we borrow will be astronomical. Our markets will collapse, and I mean collapse. And the problem with gold will go up dramatically. That's why we always tell people, Wes and myself, that we're your back door. We're there to protect you, just like we protected so many people in 2008 when the crash happened. And what's really interesting, Brandon, and we talked about it because you had some people that you sent to us at that time that were in trouble, they can't get in touch with their financial people. When that crashes are going on, they don't answer the phone. Why? Because if they get on the phone with you, you're liable to sell out. So it's better off waiting, and then guess what? You're stuck because you lost so much money. It's an easy statement to say, hey, hang on, it'll come back. And my question is, what if it doesn't come back? What do? You go back to work, period.
And that's exactly what we saw.
Correct. 75-year-old people and people my age, 1,001, going back to work. Okay, that's it. And kids that are, and we call them kids. We have people that had their son or daughter moving home with their whole family that were 45 years old because they lost their house. So we can assure and protect people by balancing them, but if they don't take advantage of it, they're crazy. And then we have the other people that say, well, how much gold should I have? Well, how much do you feel comfortable? Start realizing, and I say this to everybody out there, this is your money.
Yep.
If you lose, nobody else loses except you.
That's right.
It's like when Brandon offers you freeze-dried food. If you don't have food in there, the grocery store is going to come over and give it to you.
That's right.
If you don't plan ahead, you will take a hit, and some of it is just absolutely irrecoverable.
And only that, and you can't get to the bank to get your money, or your credit cards aren't working because there's been a cyber attack, or they're resetting the whole system, whatever it might be. I don't know what most people are going to barter with, but I know what I'll be bartering with: food. Because I have buckets and buckets and buckets of freeze-dried food. And my plumber, my electrician, my doctor friend, I have 2 doctors, one about 6 doors down, one across the street. All these doctors will gladly work with me and help me because I'm going to pay them in what everybody's going to need at the moment, and that is food. And I just saw an article the other day in the UK. The average person in the UK doesn't have a day's worth. They only have like 1 day. That's it. They're it. After 1 day, they're out. They don't have flashlights. They don't have batteries. I mean, they're totally unprepared. I'd love to see what the stats are in America, but I bet you they're not a whole lot better because you know what? A lot of people eat out. My wife and I, the other night, were running an errand somewhere, and the line around Chick-fil-A was on the weekend. The line around Chick-fil-A was down out of the parking lot and down the street. First of all, I'm thinking, how bad do your taste buds have to be to eat at Chick-fil-A? I think I've eaten there like maybe 3 times in 21 years, and I've bit into gristle, I think, every time. Disgusting. Why would you ever eat at Chick-fil-A? I have no idea, but the lines are down the street.
Well, you're absolutely right.
And most everybody eats out today. They eat out here in my part of the country. I don't know what they do in your part of the country. Very few people cook.
My sons were raised we very rarely took them out to eat and never ate junk food. And now even my 2 sons that aren't married, one of them is a successful financial person. He cooks his lunches. He cooks his dinners. He doesn't go. He very rarely will go out on the weekend with his gal, but during the week he eats healthy all week long.
Well, most Americans don't have the food in the pantry to make it because they don't make food, so they don't. I mean, I know you're exactly right, but I got to keep moving. Look at this one. The bubble is bursting. Delinquency rates have doubled and credit card defaults are soaring. Well, if they would bring down the interest rates, the interest wouldn't be accruing so fast for these poor people. I mean, they need to be responsible, but keeping the interest rates high is also impacting credit cards.
Correct. And these people can't, they're living that domino effect credit card where they borrow from one, pay to another, pay to keep dominoing it until it reaches a crescendo. Yep. And then they're done. And it's something that's sort of scary because that's what's going on right now. And that's why these communists are gaining so much power with these 19 and 20 and 21-year-old college students who mommy and daddy put them in this $50,000 a year college. and then they sit around and join the Hamas revolts out there. Those are the same people who like Mandami, because Mandami says, oh yeah, we're going to take care of you. We're going to put you in a nice apartment for no money. We're going to do this. What they don't understand about socialism is once they put you in that apartment, you're not leaving.
Yep.
You're there. And if you want something better, they're not going to give it to you.
Yep.
And if you want to go to the grocery store and you're living with socialism, you're going to buy the groceries they tell you to buy, not what you want to buy. That's what freedom's all about. And that's why people will sit there and look at these young people. It's like the 5 seconds they're alive. And as you say, the thousands of years that I'm alive, I could care less what they have. When somebody tells me I want to hear what my son's opinion is, I forgot more than my sons know, quite honestly. And quite honestly, they know it.
Yeah, they know it. Because you never let them forget it. That's why, Michael.
You're darn right. You're darn right.
July layoffs up 140% from last year. A lot of these companies are laying off. Why are they laying off so many people? Inflation, cost of business is higher, uncertainty in the future, shrinking sales, all the above, right?
I think you hit one of the big major issues, all the above, but uncertainty in the future. They're looking at things and saying, well, what is it going to cost me in the future? How is everything going to weigh itself out? How can I do things more cost effectively and save money? And they can't do it if they have a bunch of people sitting around there doing nothing like they did at the federal government. They want people that are effectively working hard. That woke mentality is leaving a lot of these companies, especially in the tech firms. Woke mentality in these is leaving. And, you know, I was talking to a person who's a human resource person of one of the major companies out there. Strangely enough, where people are leaving and trying to get jobs is Google, Microsoft, some of the old line tech firms that have been around forever that are so definitely overwhelmed with workforce that they're getting rid of people. They don't have the ability to keep them.
You know, we have some guys here that have come, they're in our control room, that have been going to college while they work for us. And that's great. You know, they've came here and been here 3-4 years. They were going through college. And of course, we taught them a skill, a trade. I mean, they operate these machines in there that I don't even know how to operate because they're so complex now. It's like going to work for, I mean, they could literally go to work for any of the big conservative networks because they know enough now about how to produce TV and the equipment. And we're using the same equipment that Real America's Voice and a lot of these other networks use. And so one of them got his degree and he thought, I should go get a job at my degree. I mean, I went to school for it. And I'm like, well, we hate to lose you, but I understand. Well, I just want you to know, Mr. Brandon, I'm applying for jobs. I said, thank you for letting me know. And he's still here. He's still working. He's applied for a bunch of jobs. And do you know what shocked me? I said, how much is that job going to pay? He said, I don't know yet. I said, you've been through 2 interviews. You're about to go for the 3rd interview and you don't know how much it's going to pay? He said, no, they don't tell you until you get, until they make an offer. I said, what a waste of your time. Put you through 2 interviews and you don't even know what they want to pay you. Now you're going to a 3rd interview. He ended up not getting the job offered to him, which I think is the company's loss because this young man is a very good, high quality guy. We hate to lose him, but they don't even tell the kids what they're going to make. And so he's gone to 2 or 3 interviews. His degree's in business. He's going to go into something probably business/financial. And I said to him this week, how is the job hunt going? He said, well, not very good. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Sure. Good luck, right? I know kids. We just lost another one in the control room. He also got his degree. And he knew an awful lot. And he decided he's going to go work for a shipping company. And I guess what you do there is you go around and you try to get up shipping contracts for a corporation, which I don't understand why anyone would want to do that. It seems like that's pretty easy to do through UPS and FedEx and even, websites where you can do all that and your stuff gets picked up. When we ship all this freeze-dried food, we have a website we go through, prints our labels, does everything for us, and the company, UPS just shows up and picks it up. So I don't know why you would need a sales guy, but somebody has been telling these college kids, you can get out of school, come work for us selling shipping, and you get these contracts for these companies, and you'll make big money, and then you can have this residual income, you can go golfing. Well, that's not working out for a bunch of them. They were sold the sky, and they get in there and they're starving, and it's not working. What I'm trying to say is we are watching firsthand as some of these young people are figuring out that working for us and working in the control room, and we pay a very reasonable fee, hourly rate, that it's a pretty good deal they got going, because it's really tough out there. They're having a hard time finding jobs, even getting interviews.
And there's a lot of hesitation right now economically because they're waiting to see how the balance of the tariff situation works itself out. And I think what President Trump is having a problem with is, again, the people that he caught the first term off guard are not off guard right now. Mm-hmm. So there's organized resistance by other countries, be it Canada, be it Mexico, which they're trying to work it out with, the Brazils, the Indias, even Russia, who now is worried, or any of the rest. They legitimately have another place to go, and that's what China put into place. And we still don't have our freedom in a lot of different areas. So companies are saying it's not a matter of I don't want to grow and I don't want to flourish within this economy. I want to wait and see. There's a wait and see attitude of seeing how it all works itself out. And that's what I think Jerome Powell is doing. He's working against it. He's throwing a monkey wrench in everything coming together. And unfortunately, we're heading into the end of the fiscal year for the United States government. The Democrats, who are now boycotting just about anything they can, it amazes me. The Republicans rolled over and gave Biden whatever he wanted as nominees. And we've got Schumer, the Antichrist, and the rest of these people running around and just doing everything possible to throw monkey wrenches into things. And they will continue to do that. And they'll do it with the budget, too. They will do everything. They don't care about what's good for this country. They are socialist, Marxist, communists. They are not Democrats. Stop calling them Democrats. And if you have family members that are like that, tell them to go visit Russia and stay there. They can do a 2-week vacation in Russia and come back and tell us how great it was.
Yep.
They'll be kissing the ground when they get back, and they'll become a Republican overnight.
Worldviewgold.com, worldviewgold.com. Take a look right there. Go there, top of the page. At the top of the page, click more information. It'll take you to the bottom. Fill out the form. You'll get a no obligation, free, no obligation packet of information, putting gold into your IRA, buying numismatic, 1933 and older. That comes with privacy. The government doesn't know you have it by law. And so, again, you can find out about all of this, ask all your questions of Michael Weiner and Mr. Wes Peters. WorldviewGold.com. All right. Thank you, Michael. Thanks for being with us. Look forward to our visit next week.
I do, too. And please have Dolly there. It's getting pretty boring now.
Well, she was on her bed earlier, but she can come and go. The door is open. She decided
she's a free spirit.
She is a free spirit, and sometimes she goes and sometimes she comes back in. It's kind of she's a free range dog. Let's just put it that way.
Good evening.
Thank you, Michael. All right, guys, before we go tonight, take a look at this. $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela. I don't know, $50 million. We could fund a lot of television with that. What do you boys say we pack up and call some special forces guys and go on a trip to Venezuela? Let's do it. Let's go, they say. That's 20-something-year-olds, right? Yeah, I think I'll stay here. And Logan, you're not going. So there you go. But yeah. Thomas, you want to go?
Send me to my dad.
No, I don't want you to die. I think your mother would have something to say about that. So would your dad. So $50 million. I mean, what do they expect? They think somebody, who do they think is going to do this? I would bet they think some people in the military there are going to do it. They're counting on some folks inside that government there to do this for them. Yeah, Logan said someone's going to do it. For $50 million, I think someone will do it. Is it dead or alive? I don't know. Let's see what Pam Bondi had to say. Here we go.
Today, the Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence into our country. To date, the DEA has seized 30 tons of cocaine linked to Maduro and his associates, with nearly 7 tons linked to Maduro himself, which represents a primary source of income for the deadly cartels based in Venezuela and Mexico. Cocaine is often laced with fentanyl, resulting in the loss and destruction of countless American lives. The DOJ has seized over $700 million of Maduro-linked assets, including 2 private jets, 9 vehicles, and more. Yet Maduro's reign of terror continues. He is one of the largest narco traffickers in the world and a threat to our national security. Therefore, we've doubled his reward to $50 million. Under President Trump's leadership, Maduro will not escape justice, and he will be held accountable for his despicable crimes. If you have any information to bring this criminal to justice, call 1-202-307-4228 or go online.
Okay, call the number. Logan, call the number. Who's going to call the number? Oh, yeah, I happen to know where the president is. Really? He is the current president. He's serving as the 53rd president of Venezuela since 2013. Sounds like to me what they're saying is if you're an insider in the government, you want to call us, we might be able to give you some help. I think that was just a call to insiders. Does anyone else agree with that? Or Logan said, or some retired special forces to load up a plane and go to Venezuela. Who needs the A-team? Where's Mr. T? You guys have no idea what I'm talking about, do you? Dog the bounty hunter, is he still alive? Yeah. Do you guys even, Liam Neeson, he has special skills, you know that, right? Do you even know, only one of you said you know the A-team. Who knows the A-team? I do. Caleb, you're the only one? Yeah, I guess you are. Did you know how Maduro started out, what career he started out in? He began his working life as a bus driver. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
His parents must be proud of him. He really rose up the ranks, didn't he? He started out as a bus driver. And he ended up being a president and drug trafficker. He rose to become a trade union leader before being elected to the National Assembly in 2000. He was appointed to a number of positions under President Hugo Chavez. Of course, they fell into full-on Marxism there. Venezuela, they're housing Hamas. They're housing China, Iran. Yeah, he's a dictator. What's his personal life like? He was born in 1962 in Caracas, Venezuela, in a working-class family. His dad was a prominent trade union leader. Let's see what else. He was born into a leftist family. Yeah, I would say that's putting it mildly. And a militant dreamer. Did you know this? That he was a follower of Indian Hindu guru? He's a follower of an Indian Hindu guru. You did not. He says, I knew that. No, you didn't. What? My grandparents were Jewish from a background converted to Catholicism in Venezuela. Huh. He's been married twice. He's a fan of John Lennon's music. Really? Wow. $50 million. I don't know. Do you think this is going to become a thing where people start putting more and more bounties on world leaders? But I guess it's not really a bounty because they seem to want him alive. Because she said arrested, right? That's really interesting. All right. $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela. Leading to the arrest. Wow. All right, we'll keep you posted. That's information that was coming out tonight I thought we should share with you. Why not, right? Let's see what else. Is there anything else, guys, breaking before we should go tonight? No? You guys are ready to go, aren't you? Let's see. Yeah, I guess that's it. All right, that's it. Let's call it a night. Hey, don't forget worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com, worldviewfoundation.com. Roll the music. Let's call it a night. Don't forget about our national Ozarks World. No, it's not in the Ozarks. Man, it's a habit of saying that. It's our national conference, our National Worldview Weekend, but it's not in the Ozarks. We brought it to the Mid-South outside of Memphis, and we're passing the savings on to you, by the way. The ticket prices have come down to $99. They were way over that, but we're saving a lot of money bringing it to the Mid-South. Only 350 seats. You can register now, worldviewstore.com. May God save America. Take care.
Faith, spiritual values, moral issues, government, economy, education, work, responsibility. What we think about these depends on our worldview. Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Brannon House.
And welcome. On this August 7th, 2025. August 7th, 2025. Joining me today is going to be Patrick Wood, because it just keeps getting creepier and creepier out there. Are you ready for this? Over at technocracy.news, European Union proposes to scan all private messages. That's gaining momentum, folks. That is gaining momentum. Scanning all your private messages, but it gets worse than that. Hang on, they're even going after the encrypted. Again, creepy alert. Sensitive conversations with ChatGPT show up on Google searches. Huh. Hope nobody is asking ChatGPT about anything personal, about any medical condition or anything else. Wow. Human AI relationships. Quote, what am I falling in love with? End quote. Joining me now is Patrick Wood, I would say the country's leading expert on technocracy and transhumanism. Patrick, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Let's go to this one right here. EU proposes to scan all private messages, and that's gaining momentum in the EU. Now, what about the encryption? What about like Signal and all these other apps that can encrypt your messages? Is it going to get around that as well?
This is the intent of this whole legislation, is to break Signal and WhatsApp in particular. And catch this: these apps are end-to-end encrypted. When you press enter on your phone with a message, it's supposed to encrypt it and send it away, and then it gets de-encrypted on the receiver's phone, right? So end-to-end, that's what it means. End-to-end is encrypted. But what they want to do is insert a snippet of code that will read your message by the time you press enter and it gets encrypted, to scan your message for trouble, whatever that means to the EU. If you're a bad boy, it knows when you're being bad. So this would basically be the end of encryption at that point. What's the point of doing that? Well, this basically will, if it goes through, it'll kill these apps altogether.
Is there any more evidence we need? I mean, it's just piling up.
Mm-hmm.
The EU wants to shut down freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I mean, it is they are bending over backwards for Islam. I mean, no wonder the Antichrist is going to pick Europe, have a Eurocentric world government. Not that other nations won't be involved, but I believe strongly it'll be a Eurocentric world government. That's what I've been writing about, speaking about for years. I think you believe the same thing. And isn't it interesting, just coincidentally, we see Europe leading the way in what could be the mark of the beast system. They've just now are rolling out the idea of big time of a digital dollar, digital currency. I mean, Europe is de-Christianizing themselves with Islam. Is there anything Europe could be doing any more aggressively to prepare the way for Antichrist than they're already doing? I don't think there is, really.
No.
Other than maybe
exactly
start killing, maybe then start arresting and killing Christians. But in one sense, they already are arresting Christians. They're arresting at least those who proclaim a Christian worldview, whether they know it or not. Because when you speak about Islam, the truth about LGBTQ, whether that person knows it or not, they're proclaiming aspects of a Christian worldview, which includes not only exposing evil, Ephesians 5:11, have nothing to do with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose it. But it's also exposing immorality, perversion, a debased mind that promotes these things. So I cut myself shaving again today. When I can't wait to get to heaven so I can quit shaving. Many reasons. That's certainly not on the top of the list, people. But won't it be great not to have to shave anymore? I get so sick of shaving. Anyhow, and people will send me emails. You got to go to an electric razor. No, it just dries my skin out. Something horrific. Maybe I should do what Patrick does and grow a beard. Look at how nice that looks. When was the last time you had to bother with shaving, Patrick?
Not hardly.
Yeah, not hardly. All right, back to where we were. Sorry for those wondering why does he keep dabbing his mouth. That's why. Already people in Europe are being arrested for either being Christians or proclaiming, whether they know it or not, as I said, a Christian worldview. So, Europe is a great place for the Antichrist to rise. And maybe it's William. The more I read about Prince William, the more I think, wow, this guy would be on my short list too. I'm reading articles. Who could believe the articles, I guess, at one sense. But it sounds like he is really ready for the old man to push on and become king. Are you reading any of these articles?
I am, and it looks like that's exactly the case at this point. As the old man, as you say, is pushed out of all decision making, he's stepping in already. So he's asserting himself right now.
And he seems like he has a temper. From what I've read, that's my opinion. It seems like he might have a very short temper, short fuse, and is not really open to a whole lot of pushback from people. Again, these are just my assumptions. I could be 100% wrong, but just based on what I'm reading about him, this guy seems like he is going to be a strong king. But of course, his father was the one that kicked it all off with Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. His grandfather, didn't his grandfather say like to come back as some kind of virus and kill 90% of the population? So this son is really cut from the mold of his grandfather and his father, but I think he's even more aggressive than either one of those two, which I would put him on my short list to be the Antichrist. Sorry, just happens to be my opinion. But maybe, I don't know who out of Europe could rise. Maybe it's someone we don't even know. But Europe is just becoming a dangerous place, and I feel sorry. We have Robert. Robert's in Europe. He's a regular listener and calls in, emails in. He's constantly sending me articles about what's happening in Europe. But this would also help explain why it's going to be easy to track down those who become Christians. You're going to have all their communications.
Yeah. There's already a shortage of Christians in Europe altogether. It's very, very dry for Christianity. You can't find converts hardly at all at this point. But all the other people who were grousing about the immigrant situation, all the rapes taking place, all of the other pressure or pushback against the surveillance state. Germany now and Sweden are both limiting cash transactions. lots of stuff to complain about in Europe. But if you complain against them, they want to censor you. And at this point, they're arresting people and you can see this is going to ramp up over time to where you say one thing today and you could be arrested tomorrow. Period of subject. So this is clamping down on free speech, but also free thought, because they want to head you off before you even say something in the first place.
Yeah. Okay, so here's somebody put out a tweet. You have it embedded in your article. The Communist European Union in action again. Well, I don't think it's communism. I think it's technocracy, which is
technocracy for sure. Yeah.
Which I think, again, this is big government, big business working together. You can call it technocracy, what I've been calling for years, communitarianism. I think in many regards, communitarianism and technocracy are the same. We're describing the same thing. Big government, big business coming together to control you with the illusion of a free system that's really not a free system.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, this is viewed by Europeans to be communism. That's the only thing that they have experience with. It was an ugly one too. Same thing with Nazi Germany. Same thing with Italy with fascism. This was their cultural experience at this point, right? So that's all they can talk about. They don't understand technocracy per se like we do. Technocracy was invented in America in the first place. It wasn't invented in Europe, but they're gonna get a taste of it for sure in the future. And right now, this whole thing is just shaping up as a scientific dictatorship. It'll be run by algorithm, not by people. This is an important distinction. The algorithm will control the behavior of people. And
so, what is the long prognosis for organizations like mine?
It's going to be really tough. I'll just say that it's going to be tough. We will hang on as long as we can until we can't. And whatever that means, I don't know. Maybe we have 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, who knows? But you can see at this point, the vice grip is closing on us. And for instance, this thing about if Europe tags Signal and WhatsApp, just consider how will that affect Americans? Well, if you have a friend in Europe and you text something from Signal, for instance, and he texts you back with your message embedded in his text back to you, well, that whole thing will be read by the EU at that point. Mm-hmm. So
when I text my friend in Great Britain, our reporter over there, and tell him how disgusting I think his world leaders are over there, they're going to see all of it.
That's right.
Logan, remind me to start texting him today, please.
He'll be getting back to you from jail.
Yeah, poor Peter McAvey will be like, stop texting. Oh, poor Peter. It's going to be soon, I'm afraid it's going to be poor us, right? Well, look at this. Your article says that we're not going to be able to talk about climate change, climate control.
That's a big one.
If we start saying things against that, they're gonna monitor that and cut that down, knock that out.
That's right. That's a big narrative.
Think about that.
Go figure. Why that in particular? Well, they've been using this narrative. It was all made up in the first place. You documented that yourself. Mm-hmm. It was a false construct in the very beginning, starting with the Club of Rome and other people in that era. This was all made up, the whole climate change nonsense. But now it's become something you cannot talk about. And even if you're for it, you still can't talk about it.
Even if you're for it, they don't want you talking about it?
If you say the wrong things about it,
mm-hmm.
you're going to be censored.
Okay, so even if you're for it, but don't say something that's in keeping with what they're what their
That's
messaging
right.
is, then you're in trouble. All right, let's come back. Let's talk about another article you have. Sensitive conversations with ChatGPT show up on Google searches. Now, I had never heard this until today. I don't know. I guess, again, if you're putting in questions, medical questions, personal data, oh my. We'll be right back. Patrick Wood, technocracy.news.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. I checked the news during the breaks. Laura Loomer, who's been a guest on my program several times, she just put out 4 minutes ago. What if I told you a high-level official in the U.S. government had an account on a sex solicitation website and regularly engaged in what she, it was obviously, she described it. I won't go there, so kids don't ask their parents this, but engaged in immoral behavior. Would anyone be surprised? How long will it be till it comes out? A lot of things will start to make more sense. A lot. TikTok. Laura Loomer, the stuff that she puts out, she investigates online and she puts out. Oh my. Well, a lot of us have said for a long time, a lot of these people are compromised. So that's interesting. Also, real quick, before we go back to the topic, we have, and we're going to deal with this tonight with Annie Cyrus on Brandon House Live. A new online platform has Hamas terrorists instructing people how to conduct an October 7th style attack. They are literally trying to globalize the Intifada. Think about that, folks. Can I ask you a question? Are you armed? Are you armed at all times? I think those of us that live in states that have laws that allow that so quickly and easily, something you need to really seriously think about, folks, particularly you men. The police are going to show up just in time to take the reports. That's about all. Very rarely do they show up in time to end it. And of course, being Christians, we are targets. Our Jewish friends, they're at risk, as everyone knows. And now we have Hamas instructing people on how to conduct an October 7th style event. We also have the Prime Minister of Israel saying that, quote, Israel won't annex or occupy Gaza. It will launch a time-bound, limited military operation once cabinet approves it tonight, and then hand Gaza over to an international body which will have neither Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority. Dumb idea, in my opinion. Why on earth would you hand over your own land to an international body? They handed over the Temple Mount. They own it, but they gave custody to the Temple Mount to the Islamists. They called their, 5,000 plus families out of the Gaza and turned everything, maybe more than that, turned everything over to the Muslims. How did that turn out? And now you want to hand it over to an international body? you know, I praise Netanyahu when he gets it right, but he gets it wrong an awful lot of the time. Why would you hand over your own land to an international body? How's that working out for you, by the way, at the international body of the United Nations? And then apparently, just in, the White House demands that Putin meet with Zelensky before he meets with President Trump. They're trying to end this war. Some say it may happen before the month is over. Well, we shall see. Patrick Wood comes back. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, but first, you're a Bible prophecy speaker. You're a Bible prophecy follower and teacher. What do you make of this? Benjamin Netanyahu saying that we're going to hand Gaza over to an international body that will neither have Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority involved. Why would you hand over your land to any international body? Is he really not that bright at the end of the day, or is he just, you know, just a politician that this just makes no sense for your country to me.
My guess is he's not so astute on the Old Testament law, and if he understood that land should not be divided, he would have stopped right there. But at this point, this has been the mantra ever since Jimmy Carter, for instance, where all the presidents